Okay.
Yeah, so much is happening on the screen, Haney. Oh, we are live. Hello?
We'll
Yes.
be live for 9-10 minutes.
Oh, tense. Okay.
Nobody's gonna come and see us. Should we just sit for a bit?
I don't know. How do we check if people are here or not?
You can see by looking at the eye.
Oh, okay. Yay, so I don't have to use this.
Yeah.
So nobody's coming to see us?
Yeah, please hold this water.
Sure. Okay. Okay. But they can watch later. So should we start now or do you want to give them some time?
We can wait like 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Hey, I see somebody. Hey. Why are you drinking your water like that?
We'll like wait for like a minute and then we'll start.
Nobody's coming here to see us. Hello, we see you. Thank you for seeing us. See you.
Excuse
Sorry, it's just technology, guys. We're having a hard time.
So thank you for coming.
Yeah, so we're just gonna give it like 2 more, like a minute or so, just to give more people time to pop in. So get your water, your drink, because we're gonna be here for a while.
Like not too long though.
Yeah, not too long. We'll try to be efficient and better prepared than our first live.
You know, guys, I actually want to put my bonnet on.
It's a do-rag.
It's a do-rag.
It's a do-rag.
New hair isn't nice. She's not like that.
I think you look cute. Doesn't she look cute?
No. I mean, like, it's nice for the look during the daytime, but, like, right now it's poking my face.
So we're about to go to sleep straight after this because we is tired.
So I'll just follow the look.
Do you even know how to put this on?
Yeah.
I normally do everything for her, so this is an experience. Okay, go. I believe in you. You got this. Yeah, why is my face so shiny and glowing?
Okay, should we start? Should we get started?
Okay, I think we can get started. Everyone else can catch up later. So, we tried to go live. When did we try to go live?
It was like a week ago.
Really?
A week ago.
You're lying.
Last week Saturday.
Tense. Okay. No, this Saturday? Oh, it's Saturday.
Today is Friday. Oh, damn. You are.
Okay, sorry guys. Sorry. So at some point we tried to go live and it was a fail because technology. So we ended up moving it to Instagram, right? But then we were like, okay, we're gonna save the reading that we got on Instagram and react to it on YouTube because we promised you guys that we would do it here, and so we're gonna see this thing through, and now it'll be more organized because we have everything in order, right? So this video is going to be about the reading we got from a spiritual medium who reached out to us in the DMs on Instagram. You look very cute.
Thank you.
And basically she was like, oh, I'd love to offer you guys a free reading. And we were like, free? Alright, reading, new experience. We're in for it, okay? And so we hopped on, right? But right, we were open to the whole experience, but we're like, okay, we're gonna be smart about this, right? Because one of our favorite YouTube channels is Chod Munch, and they usually show a lot of like psychic fails, right? Like when psychics just fail. You should watch it. It's so funny. And we basically learned a lot about how this kind of psychic thing goes, right? And basically they give you some information and then they wait for you to react and then they add on to whatever you've reacted to, in a sense. So going into this, we were like, okay, we're not going to give away too much, right? Because we were already at the information overload because we have a YouTube channel and there's so much that we say about our lives and our channel. So she already knew like a lot about us. So we're like, okay, we're not going to give her any more during this reading so that we can really see how legit this is. You know, we were very open. We really wanted to experience this. Right.
And also, like, this isn't like an attack on her spiritual gift or anything. Like, we're not saying people aren't spiritual or that things don't happen. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to deal with it case by case, because yeah, there might be real psychics, mediums out there, but I know a lot of fake ones.
Yeah,
So
I've only encountered like fake ones.
Yeah.
Well, what I've seen, on the channel Chat Munch as well. So, are you gonna tell them about subjective validation?
You can do that.
No, you said you would.
I know.
You did the fancy definition.
I don't know how to do English.
Damn. Okay, so basically the thing I was telling you about is called subjective validation, whereby they give you like something generic, right? And then they wait for a reaction and then they work with that. So for example, it would be like you have someone who is female who passed recently. And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, my mother. And they're like, yes, your mother is reaching out to me and she's wearing,
pink.
Pink, because, and then you just start, scouring through your memory for when your mom used to wear pink, and you're like, oh my gosh, that is my mom, type of thing. So they really work on your emotions and things like that. So yeah, that's why we withheld a lot of information. So that's why we're really quiet in the live, because we're listening, we're paying attention.
Okay, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's watch. Okay, I want to watch now.
Okay. Done. I'm talking too much, apparently. Okay, is it watch party on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
This ancestor.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
You can see that.
So okay, again, a full disclosure. The family is gonna come through there. Like there's no weird change of voices or such things. She will come through and just know by certain family things will be disclosed. But Mina, I have a certain rule which not disclose names. So my ancestors don't disclose names.
Right. So when she said that, we were kind of like, but why though? Because like, then who am I supposed to know who's talking when if no one is going to name themselves? You would think that a name would be a very basic thing for a spirit to kind of like disclose. I don't know.
Like how do you know which grandmother you're talking to or which relative? Like, I don't know, maybe I had two mothers, maybe, like, how do you know if you're not gonna be able to identify
and
who they are?
As African people, we have this lineage thing of like names where people can say, oh, even using totems, people can go way, way back and identify themselves. So I really would have thought that they would come forward with their name, but you know what? To each his own. We don't understand this gift and we're very open to learn. So let us continue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not anything complicated. So, I'm so nervous. I think I can calm down.
We're nervous too.
But I think actually this is a good sign. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Do me right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like we expected this because your mother's gonna come in first.
Yeah.
Mother was old. Woo! She's a bit upset, honestly. You know why?
That's upsetting her.
You know why? She says, Ogoti, after the funeral, there were disputes, conflicts. She was like, was she an elder sister?
Like a middle child.
Middle child. But I assume she was the responsible in your family.
Yeah.
And I assume she catered for most of them. She says, Oguti, because I played the eldest role to everyone, I expected my funeral to be calm. I expected my funeral to be the way things are supposed to be. Because at funerals, noise is not supposed to be there. Noise is not supposed to be there. I think she's a fast talker. Is she a fast talker?
Okay. Okay. My mother is not a fast talker. She's a loud speaker.
True.
She's very loud.
Extremely.
She's extremely loud. But she's not a fast speaker because my dad is kind of deaf. So she can't really speak very fast. She has to be loud, but she can't be fast because he can't hear he won't hear anything you say. So that part was not correct. A lot of the things she was saying actually come from one of our videos where we were talking about
the elders.
The elders. It was a recent video where I was talking about the experience of the funeral and what happened afterwards. And everything she says, I promise you, was mentioned in the video. It's all there.
Yeah. Should we play a part of the video first?
There's a part that she's gonna mention now that I specifically remember saying in the video that'll come up. So I'll show you then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She says Obuti. After the funeral, there were disputes, conflicts. The way things were supposed to be happened was not expected. Could the drama not happen after? After the funeral, after the burial, after everyone went home. But during Pamgop, it's like during people, this happened, there was conflict, my family fought. Ati, it embarrassed me. I was ashamed. I was ashamed. I was really ashamed. And for people to, she was like, the situation was not bad enough for people to make such a fuss about it. And like your mother is a very strong ancestor. I just want you to know that because she's honestly, she had a very strong, dominant energy. She was very dominant, and I think that's why she's overwhelming me. She's very overwhelming. But she says Uguti, fine, whatever happened. But manje, people are not talking to each other because of what happened in the funeral. People are not talking to each other. And but I really expected Uguti, family would get together. That was my expectation. I did not expect my death to be the reason people parted ways. Oh, okay, she's honestly I'm literally shaking.
No one parted ways. People were still talking to each other. It's just that they weren't being very nice to each other.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, they went in the same way to begin with. Like they it's not like they used to talk and now they're not talking anymore. People have always been like
separate.
Always been separate. So it wasn't anything new that people, after the whole funeral proceedings happened, everything happened, people were like, okay, we're just gonna go on and live our separate lives now. So there wasn't any like new dramatic rift.
Yeah, it was still the same stuff.
Yeah.
It was just that I was now aware of the things that were happening because people didn't feel, like they had to hide anymore because she wasn't around. So there wasn't any new conflict per se. It was still the same stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, funerals, conflict, that's like standard menu in a funeral, because like a lot of things have to be distributed, a lot of relations have to be discussed, people are emotional, obviously, because they just lost someone. So to say that there's conflict at a funeral is like saying there's food at a buffet. Obviously, there's conflict at a funeral. No, because, like when families come together, drama. Like drama always happens. Like in our elders video, we talk about how just elders and children, so they get hyped, bro. Especially when things are up for grabs. So, I don't know. I feel like that was a very, again, generic prediction reading, a very generic reading, and we didn't give anything extra, obviously, because we're like, we wonder what will actually come up.
I did not charge the bit.
What?
She's like, I can't expect people, and is the fight about a house? I see something like there's a fight about a house. They're fighting for a house.
Listen.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the charge again. Trying to be swag.
Okay. Okay. So this particular part about a house is very much like an issue still in the family because people were fighting about this house that didn't belong to them, right? And I remember specifically saying this in a video, which I'm going to show you now because I was like, that's specific information. Maybe she's reading. But I was like, no, I know where to find this information.
So we came with receipts. We went and we looked. I was just seeing what minute we're on.
Okay, is it this one?
That's the one.
This one, right? Okay.
Supposed to. But they've just been really rude, and now they're fighting over, properties and things like that. And
There you go. Right?
Right? So in that video, they were talking about the funeral. We specifically say like, they were fighting over properties. So again, not really new information that we're getting. That we're still open. Right? We were still very open.
I feel like I would have believed it a bit more if she had said something like, "Oh, they were fighting over where to hold the ceremonies," because that was a big thing. Oh, they were
But that's
fighting.
always a fight in
Oh,
funerals.
they were fighting over what to do with the things.
But
with
that's
the
always
mom-
a fight
yeah,
at
but
every funeral.
I'm just saying,
Well,
there were a lot of
specific
things.
If she gave like the specific location, you're like, the house, because there's 3 houses there. So if she had been like, the house here, in this location, I would have been like, damn, because we did not mention that. Never give away the location.
here we go.
Wait, can they see us?
So people were like, yeah.
She's like, it will never happen. She's like, she's very cheeky. She's like, it will never happen. She's like, oh, I can't expect people. And is there a fight about a house? I see something like there's a fight about a house. They're fighting for a house. She's very like, how dare they? How she's honestly like, how
Which
dare
house?
they fight for my
Whose
house?
house?
Because
Why
she's
are they
like,
fighting
when
for
I was alive, people would not even come to visit me. Certain people would not come, but man, they want to claim ownership of my property. She's like, it will never happen. She's like, she's very cheeky. She's like, it will never happen. She's like, over. She's like, over my dead body.
Well.
That joke was impactful.
And she says that. And she says, but it will really not happen. You. Okay, and then she said, okay, then imagine she wants to speak about you. She says, she was not really for a relationship and against your relationship at the same sex. She was, and you knew that.
Yeah.
From this side, I understand why you're in the relationship you're in. I understand because I see everything that happens. She says that it's very constructive for your growth. So I support it. Because man, I see things I did not see. I understand things I do not understand. So man, she's like, I'm fully with your relationship. There is so much growth to you. She's like, you're a woman now. And she was like, when I was alive, I did not realize that. Because I simply had to remind you that you're a child, you're a child, you're a child.
And we say this again in the same video.
No, I think it was a different video.
It was that we're disappointment to our parents.
Yeah.
We say this about how, our parents still see us as children, and it's hard, especially as black people, to have genuine relationships with your parents, and they always just see you as their child. So again, this isn't particularly new information. It's on our channel. Like, I'm not saying she went through our whole channel of 50 videos.
But I will say that at some point during last week or the week before we had the live, there was some activity
Which we don't
on
mind.
the channel, which I don't mind. I always welcome the bag, but I noticed that there were higher, levels of watching. Like the views weren't changing big, but the watch time was just going up a little weirdly. So I noticed that. So I don't think it's a coincidence that this was happening at the same time.
But we don't have proof that she went through those specific videos. But we noticed the activity. And then now we're getting this very similar information from those particular videos. Right, it's an interesting observation. Is she stuck?
I think she was stuck.
Personal growth. Sorry.
It's
She's very thankful for the personal growth that came about. She was like, I honestly did not realize that my daughter was this knowledgeable about things. She was this smart, she was this well catered. She's like, I really did not realize, because when I was alive, I was so she's like, I was so cheeky and so strict, we do not have the time to get to know each other as people.
We've said
But
it.
man, just
yeah, that's true.
constantly, she's like, I'm constantly around you, and I see everything. I see that you're calm, and everyone at home, I see by has labeled Junso the rebellious child. Yeah, she'll do anything she wants to do. Yeah, there's a million Ulmoles. She'll like do anything she wants to do. Like, and then there's this thing that she thinks she is. They've told you this, but they're like, who do you think you are?
No, they
But they
haven't.
like,
Really?
No,
she's
they
like, you are
haven't.
very
They've
similar to
never
me.
told me
She's like, you
anything
are
like that.
very.
I think my parents have like my I don't think my mom would be surprised because she knew I was a smart child since I was a child. She
Yeah.
raised me. So this has not come as a surprise
Mm-hmm.
to her how I think
Mm.
or behave. Like I told her at a young age, I was like, I'm not doing this marriage with a nigga thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh.
well, sorry. Like I told her, I was like, I'm not gonna, marry a man. I didn't know at the time that I meant that, I'm not gonna marry. I think my dad hear that. I think my dad can hear that. I told her at the time, so I don't think this was a surprise to her. Yeah, what she's saying isn't.
It's not new.
It's not new, and it's
Or
not
accurate.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that is what caused like the clash between you two. It's the similarity, because she was dominant and she was also rebellious in a way where she stood her ground, and you also stood your ground. So parents
I
cannot
remember
understand
saying this in this
when
video as
You
well.
said this in the How We Live Christianity video.
Really?
Yeah, where you were like, I think you told them about how she was like trying to beat you with the broom, and you weren't moving, you weren't changing your mind, she wasn't changing her mind about taking you to church, and you guys had like a physical fight. Like it wasn't like a crazy fight, but it got physical.
Like she was
So I
laughing
remember
the
you
whole
saying
entire
that.
time.
Really?
She was laughing. No, I also remember saying that she was also rebellious in her own right. I remember specifically saying that.
her ground, she stands her ground. She was like, maybe the clash of conflict came on there when you stood your own ground. And then she was like, what was happening? But she's like, more than anything, she's very proud of you. You never disappointed her as your daughter, and she just really wants to reassure that you've never disappointed her as a daughter. You're doing okay, you are great, you're amazing. She says you are kind. She says that your heart is of gold. She says that she really wishes she had the opportunity to get to know you.
So at this point, I don't know if you noticed, but we kind of like put her head down and stuff. She's not being emotional. She was actually laughing as she told me, because she's like, my mom would never say these things.
The side of you when she was alive. And she's like, but okay, it's fine. Let's just get past this because I'm no longer alive. And she's like, I'm constantly around you. I can see, but your mother liked cooking, right? And I see what she was a woman who constantly cleaned, even when the house was not dirty. She would like just
video. Pause that video.
Okay, give us some facts. Give us some facts.
Tell you.
Oh no, you're gonna tell them about the lunch bag.
I'm gonna tell you all about the lunch bag. Magwam. Magwatumelo. Magwam was not a cleaner. She did not like to clean. She did it because, she's a married woman. She was a married woman. She needed to keep up, appearances. But cleanliness was not part of the vocabulary. That's my father. My dad is super clean, right? My mom, her lunch bags were the most dirtiest things I've ever seen.
I mean,
and I'll just leave it there because we must respect. But that is very inaccurate. Never. Not on this plane, not in the next. It has never happened.
And we're cooking?
The cooking. No. Let's just leave it there. Let's just leave the cooking there. Continue.
everything, clean everything. And she's like, the house is not clean. You're like, but how? The house is clean.
That's true.
So,
she would
so
just
much I see, but she's picking up things. I don't know, she's really trying to tidy up her space. I think it was just like a disorder she has, and now you also have it. It's just that you don't realize it. You also do have it. You like picking up things randomly around the house, and
that's her.
Oh yeah, I think we did talk about this in the gender roles video, or who's the man video, where we were like, I basically do like the household stuff, so the cleaning and the picking up things and the organizing. That's me, you know. So I think she kind of got us mixed up in that regard, because she don't do nothing, which I prefer.
And and when things are out of place, it causes you discomfort.
Yeah.
So much discomfort. Why is this here? This is not supposed to be here. Why is
She
this?
doesn't care.
I don't care.
She doesn't care. I get uncomfortable. I get mad, but she doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, you know where what part is supposed to. So you're that kind of person. And she's like, yeah, okay, you get it from me. And man, it's just a family thing. But more than anything, she just really wants to say, Gucci, she's not mad at you for every fight you've had, for everything that was said and could not be taken back. She's not mad. It's past that. Everyone is just now past that. And she's like, I'm very.
Who's everyone?
I
Have
don't
you moved past this?
move past what?
The fights you guys had.
No, if anything, I'm only now trying to make sense of what was happening during my childhood. And only now am I looking at things like seriously and trying to understand what happened. I'm definitely not past anything. Like, I don't think that just because someone passes away that we just kind of like sweep everything under the rug and then just continue and keep them in this romanticized, part of our brains. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I think the first maybe 2 months it was like that. But I also came to understand that no, this is not how you heal. You need to make peace with the reality of the people you love. You can't just be like they were so amazing, great. No, reality is far from that. And if you don't do that, you won't heal. You won't move on. So I definitely have not
Moved past that.
moved past that. It's worse now.
Yeah, because you can't have those conversations, can't have that closure.
Mm.
In your life currently. And I see why you've been wanting to dream about her. And it has not happened yet.
Ugh, I'm really mad because we have to stop like at every 2 minutes.
Because it's so off. It's so off. Guys.
But in terms of like because we kept quiet because we didn't want to give any information. So yes, at sometimes I did lie. I lied a lot actually.
But like she should have known that.
Yes, but at some like the last 2 weeks, I've just been dreaming about my mom, like full vision, HD, everything. It's been rough. Like I've just been continuously every night just dreaming about her, and those dreams are not easy because when I wake up, I just have this sense of just emptiness because I expect her to be here, but she's not. So I was very much dreaming about her, and at some point, I really hoped I wouldn't be dreaming. I wish I stopped dreaming about her because she'd come up in the most weirdest places, and in the morning, I would just look for her. Just keep looking for her, and it's really painful. To wake up to that realization every morning that oh no, Ageko, she's gone. So, anyways, let's carry on.
She's like, it will happen soon. It will happen soon. She's like, I do have the power to dream, but she's like, identify me first physically in the physical world. You know me. She's like, you are my daughter, so you know me. You know my habits. So no, Uguti, when certain things happen like this, my mother used to do it like this. So there's certain events that happen that you were like, oh, my mother used to do this, or my mother wanted certain things like this. She was like, that is how I show my presence in your knowledge. Because I see, but she liked cooking, okay, and the cleaning thing. And she showed me a phone. So she was a Candy Crush addict, I think.
Okay,
Was
but
it
his
Candy Crush?
mother isn't a Candy Crush addict.
Like Candy Crush is one of the most like downloaded games ever. Like so many people are addicted to Candy Crush. Like there's actual institutions for rehabilitation for your addiction to Candy Crush. So this was a very again it's that whole thing of generalizing. So if she had said Candy Crush, let's say it was Sudoku for example. You'd have been like, oh no, it was, Sudoku, but yeah, she was always on her phone because you're looking for that subjective validation that this person is there.
Yeah.
This game we played. So imagine she's like looking at me, okay. She's looking down and like on her phone, she's okay. And she used to do this, Mm.
My mother doesn't make sounds like that.
Didn't.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
And then you'd be like, listen. And it's like, I'm listening, but you continue to play your game. So she says, like, remember such things. Remember such things. And that is how you keep her memory alive.
Mm.
And she's like, because I see, but every you do want to go back to her grave, but you just have this constant fear of,
Mm.
I don't know,
Mm?
is it rejection?
Is it rejection the fear you have?
No, it's just like just graveyards scare me. So
Anxiety.
it's just anxiety. It's scary the thought that she's just
There.
there the whole entire time and you can't do anything about it. That's really it. Yeah.
But funny enough, she's at your place too a lot.
That's
How is
scary
that
too.
confident?
I don't want to
It gets
think about my
creepier
mom
if
watching me have sex.
would elaborate. So
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going
Maybe
to
that's
sleep
just
today.
powerful.
you know, like pick up things and like just like this is not supposed to be. She's like this is me telling your place. She's like I least in like an unneat place because she's a person who likes order. She's like everything must be
Yeah.
order, everything order. So even when your house is not in order, you constantly like pick up this, you pick that. And she's like that is me setting up your place because I'm constantly there. And sometimes you get sharing career growth because I see that career growth is very important. Career
Yeah.
growth is very currently I see that you feel like there's no movement in your career. You feel like you're in one place and you are looking for opportunities to grow. And she's like, a few days ago, you actually having this conversation about your career not moving. Hmm.
Yeah, we made an Instagram post about it. Was it on our Instagram page?
I think so.
We made an Instagram post about how we are, but like we're in our 20s. Who in their 20s doesn't want career growth? Like that's the whole point of the 20s is to just fucking flourish in your career. You know, like that's always striving for because that's where all our energy is going. So again, nothing new.
I feel like I would have believed it a bit more if it was like a little more specific in terms of what this career growth um was. Because I feel like just saying, I could say it now. I'm reading you guys now, like live. This is a live reading. One of you wants career growth. One of you guys wants to move up the ladder and earn more money. How many of you does that apply to? Because I feel like it applies to everyone. Like
All
everyone
of
wants
us.
more money, everyone wants growth. I feel like we should have been like, okay, you want to move from this particular position. Like maybe you want to switch, go to a different field. You like if she said you want to go back to school, right?
To study this specific
thing. I would have been like, grand.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's amazing.
That's the one. That's a read.
But again, very generalized. Like it's just no. I'm not convinced still.
So she's like, I will provide growth. But I see also again, when you think of changing careers,
Expanding.
You see,
It's
that's
it's
the
something a lot.
what do you call that thing again? The subjective
Validation.
Yeah, because I was searching in my mind for
conversation
I've had about
changing.
changing. Yeah, I was searching for it because if it was there, you should have just been like, oh yeah, you want to change from this career to that career. No, I had to think about like, oh, have I been thinking about this? And I had to mold my story in order to kind of like fit what she was saying. Because I'm not necessarily looking, like I explained in the video, but I'm not looking for like a career change per se. It's more like an expansion of what it already is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's another strategy that psychics use where they ask you questions, like leading questions, like, you want some sort of career growth, and you're supposed to get carried away with your emotions and explain, like, oh, yeah, definitely, I want this career growth, I want this, I want that, I want this. It's like, yeah, I can definitely see that. And then that gives them hints on what else to say. But because we were being so stubborn and wanting her to, like, really just show us her gift, in full force, we weren't going to give any information away.
Those lines, like it's like we're trying to I guess we had like a conversation a few days ago where we were just talking about like the overall plan of what we were trying to do. And I guess we kind of shifted gears. Yeah, a little bit. So there has been like a career change in that respect. Yeah.
Because I see she says by you speaking on something about changing your career, and she's like, but then you're very anxious about it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Very
Obviously.
anxious.
And she's like, try it out. Just try it out. She's like, just try it out and see where it goes. And she promises to guide you and she's like, give you signals.
Oh. Was did it stop working?
Yeah,
She's
I
like,
didn't
I'll
hear
give you
anything.
signals.
It's breaking.
Sorry, it was breaking.
It started breaking, and I think we had to cut the call
Okay.
and
I'm not
go into the
connected.
next video.
Yeah, I don't
No,
think she added
she's
much
fine.
to this conversation.
Yeah.
So just go to the next video. It's the
It's
same
just-
thing, is it not?
No?
You just changed the video.
Um,
So we're back.
The sound.
Okay, there, perfect.
Okay. Sorry.
Where was I? Where were we?
We had done the rejection.
Oh, we were talking about the
Oh,
grave.
the grave that you need to go to see. You need to go see her at her grave. Like she says, just bring flowers and yeah. And she says because she really prayed. This woman prayed. Like get a bottle, like a 2 liter bottle of water, fill it with water, pray for it, and then have you done a tombstone yet?
No, not yet.
No. I see because yeah, I see, which is okay. And then
Oh, why
Like,
are
what
you
do you
asking
see?
me? Why
Like-
asking me if you can see?
you know, and the whole 2 liter bottle of water thing, you said that's like a
Yeah,
cultural
right, that's a
norm
cultural thing that you do when you go to see the site. I don't know if it's everyone's culture, but you come with a bottle of water and then you wash your hands whilst you're talking, and then the granny does the things. So yeah, I mean, you have to have that when you go to the grave. So it's not like any new information. What else? But she said something. What did she say?
About seeing the tombstone.
No, before that, something about my mom.
Oh yeah, it's only
Yeah,
been
go
about
back
your
up.
mom.
Like she said something very specific that I was just like, no, actually.
Oh, she prayed. Your mom prayed.
No, no, my mother did not pray. She was a Christian on paper.
Just checklists.
Checklist. She went to church, but there was never a moment in time where we were sitting around a table and we were praying. Maybe she did her own private prayers. I can't say. But that's something we all can't verify. So I don't know. I'll just have to believe you, because how am I?
You're the
supposed
one
to
talking to her. So.
So I can't say.
We're talking about the
oh,
grave.
the grave, and then the water, just pour it. She's like that will signify your presence. But overall, anything she says, thank you for keeping her memory alive. More than anything, she's like, thank you for keeping her memory alive. Because she's like, even though there were a lot of arguments, you still think about her so much and you still give her the place that she was your mother, and you don't really think about the bad times. She's like, she really thinks of.
What?
You don't want to say nothing?
What did she say?
She said you give her place as your mother, and you don't really think about the bad times. You just think about the good times now, and you keep her memory, her good.
I mean, I don't know.
memory
Maybe
alive.
it's a language barrier that we're having whilst we were talking. But when you say I'm giving my mother her place, I never took her out of it. She's always been my mother, so I never once was like, oh, you're no longer my mother. It's a position that she has for life and afterlife. It was never. It's not something that she earned.
No, she pushed you out.
She gave birth. She doesn't have to work for it. Like work for that position. She'll always be my mother. So I guess it was just like okay,
And about the keeping the good memories and nothing about the bad.
I think we already mentioned this, but like, it's not about keeping good memories. It's about keeping memories, like the real account of the situation, keeping it as accurate as possible, so that things don't get cloudy and we think about other good, because people are more than just the good they do. They are also the very bad stuff, and that contributes to the person I that has contributed to the person I've become, and I can't just let go of that just because she's not here. I'm here. I still have to deal with that. So I can't, let go of my mother's dark past just J to keep her memory alive. I will always have her memory. It's not something I'm going to lose unless, things happen. But yeah, yeah.
Times of the
I'm so
past and
drained.
the family. But she's like, do not let the family dilemmas get you down. She knows about her. She's like, I know how my siblings were, but I really did not expect them to act the way they acted.
So, if I'm getting this correctly, the spirits, my mother was telling her that the family was fighting and it was her siblings that were fighting. In actuality, it was my father's siblings who were fighting. My mother's siblings have been nothing but supportive, still are supportive. They're the people who are like my second, third parents. Like all her sisters are my mother's. They've raised me. My maternal granny also raised me before she died. That's my family. So they have been nothing but supportive, and they, like, even when they came to talk to me, they were very respectful, and they're like, oh, we are not here to fight with you. You're our child. We will take care of you. So it's not my mother's siblings. I think that kind of just threw me off. I think if you can look at the video, because I just I wanted to cry, because um that's not true. My mother would be very proud of how they've handled this, because even though people were saying really horrible things about her to them, um, they kept courteous and they kept pushing. They paid. I feel like I'm saying too much, but they paid for funerals. They did everything they could within their power to take care, to make sure that we were okay. So yeah, that was off the mark completely. Ugh, shit.
You're not stop this?
Nah, it's okay. It's cool. Let's keep going.
You sure?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We got it.
Makes it better. But what happened has happened. And yeah, what has happened has happened. Just know that I'm very supportive of your lifestyle choices. That's how she put it.
My mother would never say lifestyle choice.
That's how she
Maybe
put
then
it.
you feel kind of
Lifestyle
independent.
choices. So yeah. And I think we can go through Ruth.
That is not
Oh,
my
damn.
name,
Oh,
guys.
okay.
Okay, should we tell the people my name? Because right, like our Instagram name is Our Names Mean Faith. So I don't know if Ruth means faith in English. I doubt it does. But my name does it.
Just keep talking.
Okay, my name is Rutendo. Right, like so we just go with Ru. Not for Ruth. Like, but again, I'm not dead, so I couldn't tell her this from the past life. So I'll let it slide.
So this is the Timmy show.
So I think a male is
That's
standing
such a
up. I think it's your father, if I'm not mistaken.
Ruth means
Your
friend.
grandfather.
Ruth means friend, guys.
Actually.
Yeah. Who says you're my Ruth?
No, I don't think that's my dad. I hope it's not.
Has he passed?
Nah, he's still alive.
We think.
Like, why would you ask me that? Like, you're the medium. Like, shouldn't you know who it is that you're talking to? This is why names matter. I think definitely this is why names matter.
It's complicated.
Clearly. So okay, I'm guessing it's his father. Because sometimes they represent
Which one? Because my dad was raised by, like, well, not even raised by, like, I guess because with me, I don't disclose a lot about my family. Well, except my mom. She's like, star of my show. Yeah, trauma. But I don't disclose a lot about my family. So I guess she was having a hard time trying to find, like, she's trying to find that information.
themselves as the children, just to signify which side they're from.
I have never heard of this.
I mean, why is this only coming up now?
Like she said, full disclosure in the beginning, so I feel like she could have been like, and sometimes your great 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 grandparents will show up as your parents because they just want you to know who they are. And I didn't know shape shifting was part of the ancestral, superpower gang. Like this wasn't. Have you heard of this? I've never heard of this. But again, I'm an amateur. I'm not an amateur. I'm ignorant to these things, so I'm willing to learn. So let's see. Okay.
So I see from you, you have a lot of your ancestors that guide you mostly. It's males.
I just I try. I couldn't even keep my laugh in. It's so horrible. So mean. Sorry. But like I feel like that was just her trying to understand my masculinity. In a sense trying to reason to be like, oh no, you got masculine energies because masculine ancestors lead you. Again, a theory I have not heard. Not that I'm deep in the ancestral gang, right? I don't know a lot. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I've never heard someone saying that you are this way because your ancestors are guiding you like this. Have you?
I-
I've never heard of
never-
this.
I don't know anything.
I know nothing, guys.
Thank you. Well, because they like that is where you get like your dominance from.
Mm-hmm.
From being surrounded
Why
by
are y'all
by
assuming
males.
this girl is
So
dominant?
because it's the energy most present around you. It's what you took on.
Mm-hmm.
And your grandfather says, "Ish, your father's very problematic. He's inconsistent as a father. He's very inconsistent, very inconsistent." And he's like, you know, and he's like, I thought I taught him better. I was not. He's like, I was not in his life a lot, and maybe that's where he got his inconsistency from. Because I was a person who was mostly focused on providing more than an emotional relationship with my children. Because I see.
I mean, to be honest, I would say my dad's mom, my grandmother, was the hustler. Like, again, I don't know a lot about my family. I expected to learn from her, you know. But I would say she was the main hustler. I would say. She was a very dominant figure. She really was like the head of that household. So I don't know where this information is coming from.
He has a lot of siblings. A lot.
Okay, all right, guys. Like, my both of my grandparents. I don't know about the greats, but both of my grandparents were polygamists. Like because we're African and it's very much part of the culture. Like I've got a number of uncles and aunts. Like even statistically, in back like 40+ years ago, an African woman would have on average 6 kids. 6.5 kids on average.
Like my granny had like 8 kids.
So saying that
Both of them.
your parents have a lot of siblings is a fact of most Africans. I don't know.
And he's like, and the father and your grandfather is like, I'm sorry, spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing that happens. It happens a lot. So he says that he was a man that provided. His main focus was a man to provide, and he didn't have time to be emotional.
I'm just saying that's how all men have been raised. Is that men are providers? So that's yes.
Bond with his children, and then he died well not knowing the personalities of his children. He just knew back all his children were naughty. That was the end of that. And I think that's where your father lacked emotional dependency. The lack of emotional dependency came from. And then he's someone who's honestly trying to find himself as old as he is.
That's
He's someone who's trying to find himself as old as he is. And his grandfather and your grandfather says that he's someone who reaches out and then just backs off and then reaches out again and then backs off. And he's like, but then if he's not ready for a connection with his children, then why does he reach out? Why does he reach out in the first place?
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, it's fine.
That's it.
No,
Curious
it's okay.
now.
I thought maybe it's because I'm listening to this for the second time. I just felt like I had heard that from somewhere.
That no, I'm sure I've said it. I'm sure I've said that. My dad and emotions are just not a thing. But like most men, most African men, like how many of us have like dads that are in tune with their emotions? Not even dads, brothers that are in tune with their emotions. Like toxic masculinity is a real thing. Like it's basically African culture at this point. So know your information, but at this point, I'm still open.
How does he reach out in the first place? And he's like, and honestly, I really don't understand his lifestyle. Because I can see, but he got married, right? If I'm not mistaken. He got married, and with the wife, he had a child.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not the only child he has outside of that marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did she say you had out of marriage, out of wedlock?
She basically said I'm a bastard. She called me a bastard.
Wait, was that what you said?
Did you not hear that?
No, play that
Do you want me to
again.
go back?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Like, but then, if he's not ready for a connection
Why
with
did you
his
go
children,
back?
then why does he reach out? Why does he reach out in the first place?
Okay.
Why does he reach out in the first place? And he's like, and honestly, I really don't understand his lifestyle. Because I can see, but he got married, right?
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. He got married, and with the wife, he had a child.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not the only child he has outside of that marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not one to speak on my parents' lifestyle choices, right? Like, they're very much alive and can speak for themselves, right? But I will say that my mom and my dad are married. Um,
Let's leave it there.
let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. They are very much married. Yeah, I think that's enough. I'm not one to speak. I'm not one to speak for them.
And with every
She
child
called me a bastard, bro. I was like, damn. All over my face, guys. In my face.
Wow.
that is outside of the marriage, the current marriage, he's very distant from. And he's like, I do not understand the father.
I mean, as inconsistent as my dad is, right? I think he cares a lot about all his kids to the best of his ability. He's very much there. So I wouldn't say that he's distant from all the kids. Like he tries to really get he has his kids back. I'll say that.
Who's going to be so distant from his children. But then focuses on the one he lives with. Because as a father, knowing very well if you have kids outside, who do you expect to support? Who do you expect to provide?
Right.
Who do you expect to provide? But then your grandfather is like, but then again, it's okay. Because they're like, we recognize you and your sisters. And your sisters? Is it a sister? Sisters?
One sister.
Okay, I have one sister, one older sister, and a younger brother.
One sister. We recognize you and your sister. And we really do try everything in our power to push for your success, to to make sure that you are successful.
Okay. So let me get this straight. So, according to this ancestor, y'all weren't accepted.
What do you mean?
Cause y'all are the outside children.
Oh, the bastards.
Oh.
Which we're
All
not,
right.
guys. Like, my parents really are married. Still. Very much.
Things you are passionate about. And that is one thing he can show. He's like, we are really, really, really doing our best to make sure that everything you need happens. Because I see your mother as a single mother, she was very cheeky and she also didn't have time for you.
Okay, alright. My mom was she's not a single mother. I guess it's that thing of just, moms have to raise the kids always. Like I think even you said it, like your mom really took over like raising kids and stuff like that. So yeah, but in terms of like finances and income and stuff, she wasn't necessarily a single mother because my dad also, paid for our well being and stuff like that. And also, I said this in the podcast. It's not that deep, but it is birthdays. One of the videos where I'm like, I really had like a lot of abandonment issues from my mom because I just never got enough attention, as a kid growing up. So I had to train myself to not expect attention. So yeah, not new information.
She also didn't have time for you. So you learned to grow yourself. And in growing yourself, you learned some good habits and some bad habits. And
All
your
Obviously,
people
bad
do that.
habits died hard.
Yeah.
But he's like, that is how you survived, and that is how and that is what honestly got you here today to the person you are. And he's like, but then you're someone who's very self-aware. You're very
myself
self-aware.
aware, baby.
So
No.
you can
I'm
easily
not. I'm not self-aware at all. Like I'm bipolar, so my self-awareness is
Zero.
non-existent.
Mm.
I think I'm okay all the time when I'm not. So yeah, no, I'm not self-aware. Like she is my moderator. So moderator,
I'm
invigilator.
assuming.
You're my She keeps track of this because I can't.
No.
your mistakes, and when you're wrong, it's very easy for you to be like, okay, I'm wrong, and how do you move forward from that?
No.
And
No,
he's
no,
like,
no,
oh,
no, 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 no. No, this is not something she learned from childhood. This is something she learned here.
True.
From
We've had to
me.
work.
We had to learn that. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, but thank you for teaching me.
that is the kind of personal growth we have tried to construct within yourself so that you are not destructive to people that love you.
I am so destructive. I still am very destructive. Like, damn. Even here, I'm still destructive. But like, she has me on a leash. A very effective one.
Because it's like certain characteristics or certain traits you developed along the years are very harmful to the people around you. Very harmful. And you were a very self-destructive person. You thought Uti did not deserve love. You thought that you did not deserve happiness because both your parents were not giving you that. So you were like, why should someone else give me those things when my own parents failed to do that?
I
But
mean,
then
I said this in the birthdays video. Like I said, like I was like, I never felt celebrated by any community. I always felt like an outsider in my family. So
I mean, this is something you could say about almost anyone.
especially middle kid, like there's a middle child syndrome, guys. It's a whole thing.
I don't know. Are we over explaining? Because I feel like she could say this to any person right now, and I feel like it would still be relevant to
True.
most people.
True.
Like,
No, I agree with you.
yeah.
Like,
Mm-mm.
anyway, we brought people that love you, that want to cherish you, that want to grow you. And even though it took you some time to realize that who is doing what and how is but at some point you did realize that okay, this person comes with good intentions, this person comes with these kind of intentions. And you really try to do right by them. But sometimes it just happens that it's too late.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do. Honestly, there's nothing you can do from it. But more than anything, they just want you to know that, yeah, they're very present in your life. They've been trying to provide. Like we make sure that everything you need is provided for. And I see when you're someone who really talks with your hand. You talk with your hands. That's why I'm using hand gestures because I think it's a family thing. Because
yes, I wasn't looking at her when she was talking about you. Was she talking with her hands?
I didn't know this.
I didn't notice either. But if you watch our channel, like you see me throwing my hands all the
Gang
time.
signs all the time.
All the time. Like I took drama and I learned a lot of things about how to emote and express myself. And using my hands and my eyebrows and my eyes is something that I would say I learned from drama, not necessarily from my family, because my family are a very reserved people. We don't necessarily
Express.
express so vehemently. We're very reserved. So I would say I learned that from drama. I don't think anyone in my family, speaks a lot. Like, in terms of words, yeah, sure, they speak a lot, but gestures like this, no, nobody.
And I was there like, so it was just, you're talking like with hand gestures and like, okay, I'm like, okay. Normally I don't talk with hand gestures, so like I'm surprised why I'm moving around a lot. And you fidget a lot. I see that. You fidget so much.
Yeah, I can't keep still.
And yeah, certain things just family. I don't know if I'm gonna say it's genetics. I don't know. It's genetics or word.
I guess, yeah,
I
I
don't know.
guess. I don't know.
I
Oh.
don't know. But then yeah, and then also from ancestors from my mother's side, which most of the time is a grandmother. Most of the time, but sometimes it happens to be your mother's grandmother. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Here I was
Why?
impressed because my mom's grandmother actually did recently pass this year. So I was like, oh my god, is this it? Is this the moment? Yeah, legit.
But you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking she gotta go back.
She was like, Mom,
Like who?
grandmother.
Like when you told me your great grandmother was alive, I was like,
Well, not anymore.
not anymore. But like I was like, how is she still living? So the assumption would be that she'd be already be dead.
Oh, I
And she's
guess.
that old, like-
Because she messed up with my dad.
So
she was like, let me
she skipped
go
a few
back.
generations. But like you said, she had recently passed, so maybe it's not.
Yeah, here I was even perked up. I was like, oh my gosh, is this the moment?
Okay, let's go with your mother's grandmother. It's very hard to
And then
identify.
she said that, she was like, oh, okay, because now I'm excited. I'm like, oh yeah. And then she's like, oh yeah, let's go with that. And I'm like, but she explained herself.
Families are very big.
Yeah, hey, I forget too.
And okay, another thing that comes up is that you guys don't pray enough. Don't pray.
We don't pray at all. At all is the correct statement. Like, we have a video. We have so many videos. We have a video. What is it called? How we live Christianity, and basically it talks about our spiritual journey to agnostic atheism. Basically, so yeah, we don't pray at all.
But I don't know, is it a thing that you don't really believe in Christianity or what?
I don't, but the rest of my family is quite within.
Is very Christian. And you two as a couple?
No, we don't. We do not pray.
But then, exactly so, because I see that like, yeah, but then how do they protect themselves? Eh? So what we're insinuating is that you need some kind of spiritual protection. Anything, something.
I would think that they would be the protection, like they would have my back. Cause she said that before, like, we try to do everything that we can for you. Does that not include spiritual protection? Who am I praying to? If okay, isn't that their job? Like, okay,
Yeah,
Anything. Because, oh, I'm trying to ask a question.
Go ahead.
No, not from you guys.
Not bad.
Okay. Okay, great. So, I was given permission to speak about like my readings and then and okay. Yeah, they're like it's fine. Okay. So spiritual protection is important because witchcraft. We all know witchcraft. We are black people. And it protects you from that. But mostly if any kind of spiritual protection prevents physical harm. Any physical harm. Because oh guys, my sinuses are acting up. It prevents physical harm. It prevents physical harm, a lot of physical harm. Because sometimes it happens, especially I see Guti, you lost a lot of friends, so many friends, and you're still losing friends to this day.
what was the video? Everyone said our relationship was toxic. literally the intro, like 42 seconds in, I remember the timestamp. We say that, we lost a lot of friends. Literally that sentence.
And to be very honest, the people, they weren't even really friends, like the people that we lost,
Ooh.
because the people we regard as friends are still in our lives.
Very much so.
Like, I think because we have an interesting communication style with our friends, we just don't communicate as often, but we do keep in touch, and when we do talk, it feels like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So the people we shed wow, shedded. The people we shed at that time weren't really people I would consider friends, but for dramatic effect, we'll call them friends. So to answer what she said, we didn't have friends to lose to begin with.
Facts.
So-
We're quite learners, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
yeah.
We are great. And it's mostly, and you guys don't see the jealousy, but it's mostly jealousy.
Really?
For what?
I see so much envy, so much greed that it consumes them. Like it's that kind of jealousy. I mean, now when I see it like as a black aura around people. It's like a contagious jealousy because one does not like you, and then they tell the other, and that how it spreads. And then most people in your friend group just don't.
I don't think any of our social groups are connected like that.
No, they're not. I have one social group that's connected like that, and those are the purest souls I've ever met in my life.
And I
To
don't think
speak ill will,
anyone from my social groups has the time.
the energy.
Like,
If anything, they're the most supportive people I know. Imagine that whole group just going, we are envious of Tumelo, we want her, we want her to suffer.
I can't see.
That
Like,
is not-
maybe she's seeing something that we're not.
No.
Again, we have no
I
spiritual.
vouch for my friends. I vouch. I know them. I feel like I know them more than my ancestors would know. No. There's
Those people love us. Like, our
I'm
friends.
so sorry.
Our real friends really love us. Even the people that we had, like, groups that we hang out with, they really genuinely love us. Like, I've experienced such true love from strangers, even, with us. So I can't really say that I've experienced this envy that she speaks of.
Like you.
I'm just trying to think about all these people.
The thing is, when you talk together, people classify you as a disaster individually. They're like a disaster. Dating lives, your dating histories are just beyond repair.
Yeah.
But then when you talk together,
Okay, but like, who gets a gold star rating from their exes, guys? Like, if you have any amount of exes, can you really go through your ex and be like, oh my gosh, yes, amazing? Why would they be exes then? Do you get? Like, it's in that whole, everyone said our relationship was toxic, where we talk about incompatibility versus toxicity.
Toxic.
when you got together, things worked out. They were like, but how? How did they make it work? And they do not expect you to last this long.
Right?
I think
That's true. Nobody
I
expected
think I got very confused here because I thought you were speaking
For answers.
for ancestors, like with people from the dead. So what does that have to do with people who are still living? Like how do you access that plane of consciousness?
So
And
I think
communication with those people.
I think it's like our ancestors like eavesdropping on other people and then coming to gossip to her and tell like these people said, but why would so I'm trying to understand. So it's like everybody's ancestors talking to everybody else's ancestors. Is that the vibe? Like maybe their ancestors are hearing them say these things and they're like, oh, you're talking about these girls. I heard this. I heard that from my offspring and etc.
Like I obviously don't understand how the spiritual realm works, but
Obviously.
like still I'm assuming you're not getting information from the living to this extent.
We don't know.
And till this day, they're like, I'm giving them 2 years, it'll be over. I'm giving them 6 months, it'll be over. I'm giving them, and we keep like passing those
Don't we all do this?
Okay. That's where this.
limits, which makes them angry and more frustrated. And yeah, oh god, I can't believe they showed me this. Some people have subscribed to your channel with fake or made up accounts.
I believe that.
I believe it.
I see it all the time. No, I see it.
I believe it. Literally,
believe it.
we have this hater. As soon as we post a video, there's a dislike.
Before
Just
the
one.
video is even over, there's a dislike.
Just that one dislike.
And it's always on the videos that are about like exes or things like that. So I think there's someone.
And okay, the main point of this was praying. I don't know how it got really fast. And another thing I want to speak about as manifestation is that certain people wish bad luck on you, and it can actually happen by just them speaking. And they're like, you know this. So you need some kind of spiritual protection, which is a blockage from other people's jealousy, from other people's like evil energies. Like, because let me tell you like a personal story.
Maybe we should tell.
So an aunt, oh guys, I hope I'm
Yeah, I don't know if we should do that.
Yeah, skip again.
Where are we now?
thing of Uguti. The three of us saw a vision of her just. I think honestly, that's what is being said. We can, but don't.
Oh,
This was it.
Yeah. And Ruth ancestors on your mother's side are like they are also there. We're also rooting for you. It's just that they're like we are very quiet and reserved people.
Did you not pick this up from
I don't know.
an earlier conversation? Yeah, I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, did she
side of
say
the
anything
family?
about my great grandmother? Did she finish that reading? I don't think she finished that reading.
So you they're like we're very quiet and reserved people. So we don't really want to make noise in your life and in it, but we're very much there and we're very much present.
Yeah.
And
I just don't understand. Like, we can't afford to be quiet, guys. Like, life is hectic. It's hectic in these streets. It's a battlefield. You can't be quiet.
Like, why are they hiding?
Right.
I see them there.
the thing is that when they say about they're quiet, like it's they do not want to make noise in the sense of you them demanding a lot of things. Like maybe every time you go, you get a reading, and then they're the first ones to pop and say like a lot of things, They're like, we do everything for you, but in a very quiet manner. Everything you need that needs to get done, we also do it for you. And the footy, because I see that your father didn't really like pay damages or on the traditional part of aspects.
Okay. They're married. I feel I have to like keep bringing it up there. Like my parents are together.
Really didn't do things. So you are under the umbrella of your mother's ancestors. They are your biggest protectors. When your father's
Also, my mom's dad was actually, a sangoma. So I would have expected him to come through and say something, speaking to another professional. Are they the same thing?
I wouldn't necessarily classify them as the same thing.
What's the difference?
I'm not clear. I guess it would be a cultural difference, I suppose,
Maybe.
and occupational, like
Maybe. I don't know. But we'll look into it, guys. We'll get better at this and
needs
come back.
anything done, they have to beg first. Like, please, let me do this for a child. Please, let me do this for a child. And then they're like, Ish, how are we feeling today? We're in a good mood, we're in a bad mood. Honestly, that's how it works. And then, yeah. And then, is there anyone else you want to connect with?
Hello? Does anyone know the lotto numbers? That's
And honestly, I'm the media, and they don't even give me lots of numbers. So I doubt. I doubt.
Wow.
But I'm something with an 8, with 58.
Maybe my grandmother.
Probably. She's, because I see between, I think it's Jimmy's family. There's someone who used to like keep a pouch of like a lot of lottery number tickets. And so like the pouch would not be able to close. That's how many tickets she had.
Is that true?
I think here we had a bit of a language miscommunication because when she first asked, "Is there anyone you would like to connect with?" and then you started talking about lotto tickets, right? And that kind of coincided with me going, "Oh, maybe my grandmother." Which when I said that, I meant, I want to hear from my grandmother, and she took that as me saying my grandmother might be the one with the lotto tickets, and that's highly unlikely. She never bought lotto tickets. She never wanted to be rich. I think from what I know is that the grandmother I was speaking about at that time lived a very religiously life. Like she was very content with the life she had. She just wanted to be close to the Lord, whatever Lord she was worshiping. And that's all she really cared about. She would go to church and sing, and that's all she cared about, like money, things like that.
No.
Earthly things, not on her mind. So, yeah, I think that was just miscommunication.
Fair.
So it's
But
probably your
still,
grandmother.
it says a lot because she took that as a cue to be like, oh, maybe her granny, was the one with the lotto tickets.
I mean, I got nothing. I tried. Maybe another grandmother you don't know of, like one of your greats.
No, but it's
how
a
long has
grandmother
the
I'm
lotto been going
calling
on?
for. That's what I'm saying. It's not specific.
Yeah, but just because you call for someone doesn't mean they'll come forward. But then why would she ask if they don't want to talk to?
Maybe she would have been like, this is the granny from so and so. This is your mother's mother or your granny's mother. If it was like that, but she was specifically talking about the granny I was talking about, and I'm not sure if it was maternal or paternal because she didn't mention, because they're both gone. So that would have been interesting to hear, but we never got to that part.
Do you believe that?
We'll have to see.
Oh wow, that's amazing. When did you discover that you had the gift? How did you?
Honestly, it was a year ago. My parents were getting separated, and we had to move out. And when we moved out, that's when like things started showing themselves. And then honestly, it kept quiet for a while again, until like honestly a few weeks back, and I would randomly read anyone, and because I think it was so closed up, like anyone who came close to me, I'd give you a reading. I think it was just the gift wants to show off. It's like because the gift is a different personality. It's a different person because the person needs to be alive. And and suddenly I have the easiest gift. I just like I don't want to write.
I mean, now she's not talking about me and my family, but she's still using her hands. So now I'm confused.
Maybe it's something she does. I mean, that's very interesting. That she says the gift is a person, like someone who was living. Is that what I heard?
I don't know. Maybe she. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Like,
yeah.
is it a person who then contacts the ancestors? Like, or is it her, or are the ancestors speaking through her?
I mean, I don't know, but I guess these are just things that we'll have to like look into a bit more if we're that interested.
Or should have asked.
Yeah.
Because the thing of I do not need to do anything. I can sit anywhere and read anyone at any day, any time. I don't have to have candles. I don't have to have anything of you. I can just think of your name and I would know what's going on in your life. So it's that easy.
I guess
The crazy
my
thing.
question. Oh, you can go first. I guess my question would be like, since you have like a connection to the ancestors, like why aren't they like more specific? Like when they're telling you things, Why don't they just like send you a message younger like with everything instead of like you having to feel it out?
I think it's honestly a sense. I think it's honestly like it's still growing. It's still like in the growing process because it needs to be nurtured with water. Like I have to go to the river once in a while, get inside, pray, and then just come out again. And you know the stories of Uniga's Mamanzi, which is a snake, which is the scariest thing. Oh God. And I had to actually do this morning, and that's why like we moved our reading a bit later.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like a progressive thing. You would see over time it because I remember at first it was just like feelings and thoughts, like it was just him thoughts and meaning was feelings. But as time went by, it was like pictures.
Yeah.
It was like I could see images of the person talking to me and like the hand gestures. And yeah, so I think it's just like a very progressive thing.
So what does my mom look like to you?
Oh, guys.
Honestly, I don't think I can.
Wait, sorry. Because wait here, I promise.
It's just we went
I
like
think
Or your mother. Because I see that she was a woman who liked sitting a lot. Most of the time when you find her home, she would be sitting.
Yeah.
So
Let her talk first.
I see her, she's sitting, and she was, oh, and she liked, she liked wearing jeans. I see her like she was wearing a jean, and I see that she was very like curvy, and there's this other pink t-shirt she has, and I think she loved it. It was like a pink t-shirt, and she had like short hair. She had short hair, and because I don't think we're supposed to see face, I see her like she's looking at the phone. She's like really harsh. So that's how I see her. And when she was outside, she liked crossing her feet when she sat, when she was sitting down. Cross her feet and she'd just always be on her phone. You can say anything, she'd still be on her phone.
Yeah, she loved Candy Crush so much.
okay, one.
Okay, so I guess um, this part of the reading was very difficult because I did something that she didn't expect. I asked her to describe my mother, like physically, because she said, she receives images. So I was like, okay, you receive imagery. What does my mother look like to you? Because I'm curious. Like, is the look different in the spiritual realm? And what she gave me was that, okay, one, my mom liked to sit. I I don't think I don't think I think we all like to sit, unless you don't like to sit. But I feel like everybody sits down, so I don't think that's really something I'm gonna count. Okay, the next one is that when she sits outside, she crosses her legs.
I mean, that's a very like traditional practice for all women.
Yeah.
To cross our legs.
I mean, not even cross her legs. She just closes them. She wouldn't cross them. It's quite specific, but it's not. She didn't cross her legs. What was the other one? Oh, she liked to wear jeans. I mean, she liked to wear skirts and like dresses. Like she wore jeans, of course, but for the most part, I think I would have been more like amazed if she had mentioned that she wore her work uniform.
Okay.
Because that's what she wore.
Oh, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool because my mom was a nurse. And that's what she was wearing most of the time. I can't even remember what she wore, like, in general, because she was always in her nurse uniform and she was always working. So if she had said, she was wearing her work pants, I would have been like, so that's it, right? My mother had long hair. Since the day I was born, I've always known her with long hair. I guess sometimes maybe when you see my hair and you think, oh, maybe, that's the whole clan. It is not the whole clan. I'm not a representative of the clan. My mother had very long hair. She relaxed it. It was quite long. She trimmed it here and there. I would have believed you if you said maybe the hairline was it was struggling. I would have been like, you onto something. But she had very long hair. And in terms of like black women, talking about hair is not really something specific. I feel like we switch up wigs and weaves
All
and
the
braids
time.
all the time. So
True.
I feel like, you know, it wasn't really specific. What else? The pink shirt. My mother had a pink sweater once. Yeah, no, it was a badness here. What else? There was something else.
I think she was sitting and playing on her phone. She was
Yes.
most likely.
No, if my mom was playing Candy Crush, she would be lying on the bed.
Mm.
And my mother also tended to be very underdressed. So when she was chilling, at home, she would just have like lihia lake and just tie it around her waist. I mean her chest and chill. If she was playing games, she's on the bed with the phone. She's not sitting. She didn't sit. And if she sat, she would have her feet on the table. Like those are the things that my mother used to do that I distinctly remember. So no, miss.
So that's we just like give me a visual, and from time to time it changes because like from a specific question, now that you want me to describe it, you're showing me like a certain image you would relate to instead of like something random. So I think that's just how it works. And the piece and bits of things is like they want me to tell a little bit and then you to just continue to recognize the rest.
Which is what I said in the beginning, is that like she gives you a direction, like points you in a direction, and then waits for you to, just run there with your emotions.
Like, should I give a reading right now?
I want to give a reading. Okay. Okay, go. I'm here for
Okay.
you. I support you.
No, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, you
Because
know.
I know it'll be offensive. Let's just keep going.
The story. I
Wow.
think that's it.
Are you ever scared?
That's at them or other things because they're
Anything.
definitely other.
That's scary.
Anything, because
No,
I
I
can
don't.
imagine it's a very solitary type thing because not a lot of people can relate to this experience. So, are you ever scared?
Yeah, there was a time where I do not sleep without the lights being on, and then when there was load shedding, I was like, God kill me, because at first they came like in routine because all my ancestors would just like everyone would just pop up, and I would feel like there's a line curving around my bed, and there are people standing over me,
Wow.
and,
That's scary.
and honestly,
Yeah.
that was really intense. And then like I had like routine, I had many thoughts, and then I'd be like, yo, okay, I'm so scared, and then I'd run and go sleep with my mother. And my mother's like, why are you scared? Because they were trying to speak to you. And I'm like, not like that. Not like that. And then
Wow.
they came, and then they were a bit more considerate. They came to my dreams and they introduced themselves one by one, so I can know everyone individually, how they came from, their background, and who mainly has my
No,
gift.
no names.
But they don't disclose names. Maybe her ancestors are the exception.
Wow. Do you have any more questions?
And it's very scary, honestly. I don't know why. It's
Oh,
very
wait.
scary.
I did have one last question. You said that we need some sort of spiritual connection. Like, does it not matter what it is? Is it protection? I'm sorry. Does it not matter, like, could I be Islam? Should I be Hindu? Like, is it specific? Like, what's the
It's
deal?
it's not it's not specific because I remember. Oh, this was so dumb. I remember having a conversation with my ancestors, right? And it was during the time I was atheist, and I was trying to explain why I was atheist, and they were like, "Why are you atheist? How do you connect with you?" And such questions came about, and I honestly, and they explained like the entire Christianity thing that Christianity is not our history. It's like white people's history because you can't have like white ancestors. You're black. Nah, 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 nah. We honestly had this conversation, but they were like, Christianity is what we believed in when we were alive, and it's just like the easiest source of communication because it's easy, knowledgeable, and nani. So just go with that because more than anything, we know God is a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
What you choose to call it, how you choose to go about it is honestly your choice. But we all know that there's a higher power, And yeah, so I feel like even if I went to like Islamic nana, it would still guide me in my religion and in my practices. So it was not really a big deal. It was just like, hey, Christianity is easy for us. We know the rules of it. It's something we're very familiar with. So let's just stick to that line.
Interesting. Okay, this was very insightful, very
Yeah.
enlightening.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, it was very
I
interesting.
think that's where it ended because like our battery died and then didn't say goodbye properly. But that was it. That was all reading. I do want to address that last part though. About the whole. Why am I out of the frame? Should I move it towards?
Okay, that
Okay,
makes
there we
sense.
go. About the whole thing, because she was like, oh, you need some sort of spiritual protection. Right, and now that they're in the afterlife, you'd think that your ancestors would be like, nah, homie, there definitely is a hell, you need to get your act together, or they would be like, oh no, it doesn't matter. And she was like, yeah, my ancestors were like, if you're atheist, how can we connect with you? But if you're talking to me now, surely you're connecting with me, so why
It's happening.
it's happening, so why does there need to be, a third,
third party.
party when it's happening? I don't know. Yeah, and just the assumption that Christianity is my ancestors' religion as well. Like,
That
what
it's
if my
easier.
ancestors were atheists as well? Like what happens then? So there was a lot of unanswered questions. Like, I felt like I was being recruited back into Christianity a little there at the end, just a little bit. But yeah, I didn't get how did that make you feel?
I felt very weird to say the least because I think, especially when the wound of my mother passing is still kind of fresh, it's interesting to hear about her from someone who didn't know her. Like,
Sorry.
it's a very interesting position to be in. I personally would not have gone to look for a medium myself to kind of speak to her because I guess it doesn't really change much for me now. It has happened and that's just it. It has happened and it'll be my time at some point. So I felt a little. I think after it happened, like at first I was really excited. Like I was just like, "Yo, this is gonna be cool." Maybe I might get into contact with my mother. And then after the call, I just felt this pit of sadness like within because I guess you think about because a lot of the things that were said were not correct. Like a lot of the things were just it felt like guesswork, and I started feeling like I was being taken advantage of, like or like my grief was being taken advantage of. Because yeah, you can tell anyone that their dead relatives are proud of them and that they're happy for them, and some people get paid just to do that. You can imagine if she had found me like earlier, the day of after the passing or a week or two, when it was still like a very fresh wound, it would have been really easy to tell me these sweet nothings and make me feel like I could, you know, connect with them again. Because I think after something like this happens, you just want to feel close to them because they're gone forever. Like you can't reach them, and it's a hard thing to accept. So I just felt really sad afterwards. It just felt really sad. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, again, I say I'm ignorant, so I don't know if this works.
I mean, for me, it's not a thing of like whether it works or not. It's just something I don't want to experience. Like being reminded. Like I know it's nice to hear that. Oh, your mother is looking after you and stuff like that. But I just don't want to relive that grief over and over again. Like maybe it's comforting to other people, but for me to know that my mother is close to me like that is kind of creepy.
Yeah,
So
no comfort.
no comfort, yeah. Like I would have been like, oh, she's resting, okay, great.
Cool.
You can't be working overtime now again. Please rest. Like just lala girl, So it was a tough time, guys.
Yeah, it wasn't an enjoyable experiment. Like it started off fun, but then it got really bad.
Serious.
It got really serious. Just be careful, I guess, with the sort of interactions you're having with people, the sort of information about yourself you're giving out
Yeah, on the internet,
on the
especially.
internet. Rich coming from us. But you need to be careful about the information because people can take that and use it, whether it be harmful or not, it's still, you're still making yourself very vulnerable, in ways you don't expect. So we do need to be careful about what we do share with people on the internet. And handling grief is an internal thing. Like, I think reaching and searching for people outside, we know that not everyone is an angel. People are very ready to exploit you. I'm not saying that this medium necessarily exploits people, but we've heard of plenty that exploit people, take their savings and everything because people are so desperate for that connections from their loved ones. And honestly, like, I would advocate for actual certified mental health practitioners before you consult psychics. If you can't afford it, if the option is available, you should consult, mental health professionals first.
I think for the most part, what we look for is validation when we seek these options out. And honestly, you can get that for free.
Facts. But yeah, that was the reading. It got a little sad at the end. Sorry, guys. We'll try to do more fun lives. Are you okay?
I'm not okay, guys. I'm not okay.
Okay, I have to go take care of her now.
But thank you guys for being here. Like, this is the first live that actually
worked.
Lived.
Yeah. But we look forward to doing more. And yeah.
Oh, and also don't attack the person. We're not saying they're not a real medium. It was never. We're not bringing her powers into question. It's just that in this particular case, with this particular information, a lot of it was not correct. That's not to say she's never been correct before, or that her powers.
You're entitled to go and.
Yeah, you're entitled to do whatever you want. Maybe it will work for you, and that's great. Good for you.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.